Alright, so let's start our mile tracker app. So basically this is going to be a jQuery mobile application. It's going to be just the HTML5 implementation. We're not going to use PhoneGap or anything like that to actually make it compatible with a mobile phone with iOS or whatever. We're just creating the HTML5 in JavaScript. Okay, so basically we can come to the app and you can see we have no logged runs. And let's say we just ran 3.2 miles. Okay, and we just select the date. Okay, we'll say yesterday. Submit, run added, and now you can see it down here. Okay, so let's add another one. Let's say we ran 2.2 miles today. Submit, and you can see it shows down here. Now we can filter our runs as well. If we want to go by distance, let's say we want to find when we ran 3.2, it's going to filter it out for us. Okay, we can also filter by date. Let's say we want 10:09, and it'll filter as well. Alright, so we can edit runs as well. Okay, so let's say we made a mistake and we really went 2.4. We can update that. Okay, run updated. We can delete runs. Okay, and we can also clear all runs with the clear total mileage. All right, very, very simple, but very clean. So the first thing we want to do is create our folder structure. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to just call this mile tracker. And I know this is a very simple application, but it's a good starting point for maybe you want to add some geolocation programming where you can actually track your run as you're running. You may want to use something like PhoneGap to create a hybrid application that you can actually put on the App Store. Alright, so let's create our HTML file. Okay, let's create our CSS file, or folder, sorry, in JavaScript. In the JavaScript, we want script.js. Oh, and I should have mentioned we're going to be using HTML5 local storage for storing runs. So we'll be looking at that API in depth. Let's create our style sheet, which we're not going to do much styling because we're using jQuery mobile, which already has pretty much this type of styling. Alright, so we'll open up the HTML. We'll open up all of our files. Okay. So let's create our HTML5 structure. And we're not going to actually download jQuery mobile. I'm just going to use the CDN just like we've been doing with jQuery. Alright, so let's include our local script. Okay, we want to include our CSS file. CSS style.css. Okay, now let's go and let's go to the Google API. Whoops, that's not what I want. Google CDN. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to grab both jQuery and the jQuery UI. Alright, and then we'll get the jQuery mobile from their site. Actually, no, we have jQuery mobile right here. Alright, so let's grab this. Okay, we'll paste that in here. And we want jQuery mobile. We want to grab the style sheet as well for jQuery mobile. Okay, grab the script first. Throw that in there. Okay, we'll get the style sheet. Put that right here, and then finally the UI. Basically, the UI is going to be used for the date picker. So this is going to go, that's going to go in the middle. And then I'm going to grab the UI style sheet as well. And I'm going to put that right here. Alright, so that looks good. That's good for the head. Okay, body. Alright, now there's two different ways we can do this as far as our page structure. We can create separate pages like index.html. Maybe for add run we'd have add.html, or we can use a multi-page template where we can include all of our pages in this one file, and that's what we're going to do. And let's see, jQuery mobile has some good documentation on this. Say multi-page, no. Let's just search for it. jQuery mobile multi-page template. So this is an example of a multi-page. Alright, so this looks like it's taking us to a whole new page, but it's not. It's all the same page. And if we look at the source code, basically we want to create a div with the data role of page, okay, and then the ID of 1. So the ID is what's going to be used to identify this page. And then down here you can see start of second page, data role page ID 2. Alright, and you can just keep going with that. Here's another page, and this is actually a pop-up. Okay, so click right here, you can see you can have a pop-up page. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, so in the body we need a div with a data role attribute, and this is going to be a page, and we're going to give it an ID, and give it an ID of home. Alright, and then if we look at the finished app, we have this header here with the name of the app. So let's create that. So this is also going to be a div with a data role. The data role here is going to be header. Alright, and then inside there we're just going to have an h1 tag. Okay, so now if we go and look, let's open up our app. Okay, we're getting this loopy thing because in our CDNs we need to provide an HTTPS, and I'm pretty sure that's due to doing this on my local file system and not a server. Alright, so there we go. Now you'll notice that this is gray, has a gray background. This one is black. That's because I used a special data theme attribute here, and you can apply this to many different elements. So in the data role header, I'm going to add another attribute called data theme, and I'm going to set it to B. Okay, and that's going to make it dark. Okay, there's a few different ones. C, I'm not sure. Okay, so that's C. I'm not exactly sure how many there are. And that's no different. So maybe there's only 3, I don't know. But we're going to use B. Alright, so after the header, we need some kind of navigation. Okay, so we're going to say div data role, and the data role is going to be navbar. Okay, and in that navbar, we're going to have a UL. Alright, and we're going to put a link in here. And the link is going to go to, this one is going to be our home link, so it's going to go to # home. And we actually have a few other attributes we need to put in here too. Alright, so we need a data transition. Okay, you can have different kinds of transitions, but I'm going to set this to none. And then I want to have an icon as well, so I'm going to set data icon, and I'm going to set that to home. Okay, and then I'm going to copy this, and this one is going to go to our add page. Okay, data icon, I'm going to do plus, and here we're going to say add run. And if we look at that, okay, looks pretty good. And we don't have to do any custom CSS yet. Next is going to be the content area. Okay, so we have the page, we have a header, we have a navbar. So now we need the content. So div, and then we're going to say data role, and that's going to equal content. Okay, and in here we're going to have an H3, and I'm just going to paste in some text here. I'm going to paste in a couple things. Okay, so we have a H3, then we have a paragraph, and then we're just saying your latest runs. Alright, and under that we want an unordered list to list our runs. Okay, and we're going to be inserting the content in this dynamically through jQuery. Alright, so we need to set an ID, and I'm going to set it to stats. Alright, the data role is going to be list view. Alright, next we need a data filter. We don't need it, but I want to use it, which is that input where you can filter by date or distance. Alright, so set that to true, and I want to set a placeholder for the text of that filter. So data filter placeholder. We're going to say filter runs by date or distance. Okay, and then finally we're going to have an attribute called data inset, and set that to true. And that's it, and we're going to close this up because like I said, we're going to dynamically insert data there. We're not going to actually type it through HTML. And I'm just going to do a line break here, and then we need our clear button. Alright, so we want a button, and I'm going to give it an ID of clear runs, and we want to set an on-click handler because I want to confirm. You want to ask them if they're sure that they want to clear it, because you know, they could click it by accident or whatever. So confirm, we're going to say, are you sure? And I'm going to set the data theme on this as well, because I want it to be a dark button. So I'm going to set the data theme to B. Okay, and then the text for the button. Okay, so that's good. Let's check that out. Okay, so far so good. Now we just want to put a footer. So we're going to go out of the content. And let me see, we'll set. Actually, let's make this more HTML5 friendly, and for the header, let's use a header tag. Whoops. Sorry about that. Alright, header, close the header, and then down here we'll use footer. Okay, and we're going to give this a data role as well. And let's give this a data theme, just like the heading or header. And we'll put an H4 in here. And I'm just going to put a copyright here. That's fine. Alright, check that out. Okay, so something isn't right here. Footer, data. This, what's this div? Oh, this div should be after the footer. The footer should actually be in the page. Alright. So there is our home page. Okay, now we just want to quickly create the add page, which is going to be a form. Alright, so I'm going to copy this whole thing, the whole page div, and just go down here, paste it. And we should probably put a comment here, just so we know which page is which. Okay, so we want to change the ID here to add. Header can be the same. Everything's going to be the same except for the content. So we're going to clear all that out. Okay, and then we're going to put in, I'm going to put an H3 that says add run. Alright, and then we'll have a form. And I'm going to give it an ID of add form. Okay, and in the form we'll have a label, miles. And we'll put an input, and the input is going to have a type of text, and we want an ID of add miles. Actually, this right here, 4, should also be add miles. Whoops. What else? That should be good. So next we'll have another label for add date. And then an input. Okay, type. I'm going to say text, and the data role is going to be date. Give it a class of date because we're going to use the jQuery UI, the date picker from the UI. So that's why we're adding a class and this stuff. ID, add date, and then we want data inline true. Okay, and then finally we want a button. Okay, we'll give this an ID of submit add, and I'm going to give it a class of UI btn. What else? UI btn. These are just classes to theme it, really. B, and then UI corner all, which will give it a rounded look. Alright, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so we have our forms. Now the date here isn't popping up. We need a date picker to pop up. We need to actually call from JavaScript date picker. So right here, actually let's go right here. Okay, so script. Okay, and all we need to do here is a function okay, we're going to grab the date class and we're going to say dot each function this, and we're going to call the date picker. Alright, so let's see if that works. Okay, it's not working. Let me see, what did I do wrong here? Oh, we need our quotes. Alright, so there's our date picker. So I'm going to stop here. We basically have our layout. Actually, you know what? Let's just do a couple things in the style sheet. We don't need to do much here. I just want to align everything to the center. Okay, and then the UL, I want displayed as a block. And what else? Stats. Okay, so for the run list that we're going to create when we add a run, actually, you know what? No, I'm not doing that. We need this. Actually, that's fine for now. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, if we reload, it should be centered. All right. So that's good. In the next video, we're going to make it so that we can actually submit a run through the add run page, and that's going to go to local storage.